Today we're going to dive into a pretty revolutionary idea for an election system. It's called the G2 system, and its whole goal is to make every single vote completely verifiable by the person who actually cast it.
Okay, think about this for a second. What if you could track your vote with the exact same certainty that you track a package from Amazon? See every single step of its journey and know for sure that it was counted correctly. Well, that's the big promise behind the G2 system.
So how on earth does a system with that much transparency even work? Well, it all starts not with some pre-printed ballot, but with you, the voter, and your own unique biometric identity.
Your first stop is this thing called the voter biometric machine. Once it verifies who you are, it prints out a brand new single-use ballot paper just for you. Right away, this creates a super secure physical link between one voter and one ballot. No ambiguity from the get-go. And this isn't your typical ballot. It's actually a perforated three-part document. You've got the part with the candidate list, where you make your choice. Then there's a QR code, which is basically the ballot's digital fingerprint. And finally, you have a serial slip. Now, this last part is crucial. That slip is your personal key to the whole verification system.
All right, so you've got your unique ballot. Your journey now takes you into what's designed to be a fortress of integrity, the voting room itself.
And listen, this is not just any old room. To get in, you use that same biometric data, which makes sure only one authorized voter can be inside at a time. It has just one way in and one way out, and the entire area is monitored by CCTV. The idea is to create this secure bubble where every single action is accounted for.
So you're inside, you've marked your choice. Now comes what is probably the most innovative part of this whole thing: how your vote is actually cast, separated, and secured.
This is where those perforations we talked about really matter. Your single ballot gets physically separated into its parts. The candidate list, your actual vote, is fed upside down into a scanner. That's to keep your choice anonymous while it's being recorded for a live stream. At the same time, the QR code and the serial slip each start their own, completely different and independently recorded journeys. And this dual process is so critical. The anonymous vote from your candidate list, that gets live streamed to a polling agency for a really fast hourly count that anyone can see. But at the same time, the identifying information, the QR and serial data, are recorded on separate offline systems. This keeps the count fast and public, but it keeps the audit trail totally secure and private.
This separation of footage brings us to the real heart of the G2 system's security, an incredibly robust 4-layer video audit trail.
4. Just remember that number. It's not just one camera watching, it's 4 distinct, synchronized recordings that capture every single step of your vote's journey inside that room.
So let's break that down, okay? First, you have the CCTV footage. That proves exactly when you entered and when you left. Second, there's serial footage, which records the exact moment your serial slip was created. Third, the QR footage captures the scan of your ballot's digital ID. And finally, the vote video records your anonymous vote being deposited. Put them all together, and you have an absolutely airtight, time-stamped timeline of events.
So, the vote is in, it's recorded, but what happens after you walk out the door? Well, this is where the system does something amazing. It shifts the power of auditing directly over to you. Hey, remember that third part of the ballot? You take that home with you. This serial slip isn't just a receipt, it's your private key. It's the tool that lets you personally and privately check up on your vote status. This system has this feature called serial tracking to QR. What that means basically is you can use a mobile app and your serial number acts like a password. It lets you look up all the time-stamped events tied to your ballot, when it was scanned, where, everything, but it never ever reveals who you voted for. The process for you, the voter, is actually really simple. You just keep your slip, you use the app, punch in your number, and you confirm that the time and location for your voting events look correct. And if you see any mismatch, anything at all that looks off, you have the power to raise an official complaint, and you've got the evidence to back it up. So the obvious question is, what stops someone from just tampering with all this evidence? Well, the system's final security layer is what you'd call a decentralized trust model. And it's simple. The evidence isn't all stored in one place. Each of those 4 video trails we talked about is stored offline by a completely separate, independent authority. The verification office has the CCTV, the polling office has the live vote footage, the recount office holds the QR data, and a complaints office secures the serial footage. And here's the kicker.
They are legally forbidden from sharing this data with each other.
The only time these separate puzzle pieces can ever be brought together is if you, the voter, file a formal complaint. Only then can a special investigation office request the data from all 4 sources to sync up the timeline and figure out what happened. And that complaint, it has to be published, guaranteeing total transparency.
And you know, all of this brings us to the most powerful takeaway here. This kind of system fundamentally changes the whole dynamic of trust. It's not just about trusting the institution anymore. It's about empowering you, the voter, to become the main auditor of your own vote.
So, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When every single voter holds the key to verify their own civic action, does that change what it even means to have trust in an election? Does it finally move us from a system based on belief to a system based on verifiable proof?